Call of Duty used to own the FPS world. Midnight launches, legendary campaigns, multiplayer that redefined gaming, but now? Players are burnt out, the stories are recycled, and Warzone, it's not the revolution it once was. If Call of Duty wants to survive the next decade, something has to change. Today, we're breaking down exactly what Activision needs to fix and what they're still getting right. From broken release cycles to forgettable campaigns, here's how Call of Duty can evolve and win us back. Call of Duty has released a new game every year for 20 years. This causes franchise fatigue, rushed innovation, and inconsistent quality, which we've certainly been feeling the last few years. The Black Ops 6 season was really the first time in my life that I've felt COD fatigue, and I loved the game. But some of the decisions that were made this year were pretty questionable. Bundles were shoved down our throats more so than other years. You were rewarded for spending money on Black Cell, releasing uncompetitive maps every season, and not really doing anything about the cheating. All of this left a sour taste in my mouth and made me rethink my love for the franchise. Call of Duty needs to forget about the annual release cycle and shift to a multi-year support model for each game. They've already kind of started going in this direction with Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, and then Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7 this year. But they're milking every last penny out of people, charging full pop for those second games, when in reality, these are just extensions of the one game. A multi-year support model will give time for the game to thrive, and developers can constantly be immersed in their current game for a full cycle instead of worrying about the next game in the cycle. One game can be supported with new campaigns, advancing the story even if it is just one campaign mission per season. We saw this with the raids in Modern Warfare 2. I actually really liked those, and it was a fun co-op mode. We need new modes that tailor to the seasonal theme. Call of Duty is bad at this. Their events usually have nothing to do with anything gameplay-wise, the exception being the Squid Game event, which was actually very well done. If they can make new modes that directly relate to the seasonal theme, it makes it much more exciting for the player instead of having events that you just need to collect XP for to unlock stuff. And if we're talking drastic measures, let's take the Fortnite route. One game under the Call of Duty umbrella. Chapters, seasons, in-game events, new modes, vaulting weapons, putting new weapons in. Think about it. One season could literally just be Black Ops 2. Bring in the maps, the guns, the streaks, and another season could just be advanced movement. I know this idea is split amongst the community, but if the players could handle it for one season, it could be decent. There would be so many options if they went this route. Do I think they ever would? No. Not until sales drastically decrease, because as it stands now, so many people buy that annual release, and that's revenue they are unwilling to give up. Activision and Call of Duty need to think of their game like a platform instead of a product. Let the games live. Call of Duty campaigns are a very small piece of the Call of Duty pie, but still meaningful and fun. Many recent campaigns like Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3.23 felt generic and forgettable, recycling the same military cliches. The World War II theme doesn't work in a campaign anymore. We've seen that story. We know that story inside and out. Vanguard tried to spice it up a little by introducing primary antagonists, but they just fell flat in my opinion. Modern Warfare 3 introduced open world combat missions, which I understand why they wanted to do it, and I do think there is a place for them, believe it or not, but they need to be well thought out. They were going for the replayability factor in Modern Warfare 3 and the fact that no open world mission will ever feel the same. But there was no incentive to play the level again other than it might be a different experience than the last time you played it. Call of Duty needs to double down on complex themes like Black Ops 1 and 2's paranoia and Menendez's moral grayness. That's what makes him one of the greatest villains ever. That's what makes any good villain. They need to either be relatable or so fucking ruthless that you're legit scared. Treyarch does the complex themes the best. Cold War and Black Ops 6 really dive into those spy thriller themes and mind-bending aspect of it, and those two are some of my favorite campaigns in the franchise. We also need branching narratives, moral choices, and character development. These should all be standard things, not exceptions. Black Ops 2's campaign was so unique because there was 8 different outcomes at the end based on player choices made throughout the game. And those endings are still being talked about today. And we're finally about to get an answer to the canon ending in Black Ops 2 in Black Ops 7 13 years later. While maybe we don't need 8 endings, Cold War had 3 endings, but was limited to one choice made near the end of the game, still a very cool addition. We need more choice throughout that has an impact on the story. It makes it so much more real. We need villains with real motivations, not just accents and bombs. This is probably the biggest issue people have with the games. Multiplayer always feels like a repackaged version of the previous year with new cosmetics. This is especially true in the Warzone era. Every game literally looks and feels the same. The only thing differentiating games now is the weapons and the gimmick of the year. This wouldn't even be considered a problem if they didn't do annual releases, but they're literally charging $80 for the same game every year. This is where it's tricky. The Call of Duty fanbase doesn't like change, so it makes it difficult to implement game-changing elements. Call of Duty at its core is a simple, fast-paced first-person shooter. That'll never change, but fast doesn't have to mean shallow. Personally, I think Call of Duty works best with meaningful class systems. I'm talking specialists here, which are extremely divisive in the COD community, but it makes every player a little bit different if they're balanced correctly. Look at Black Ops 3, in my opinion, the greatest multiplayer ever. Those classes worked and nothing felt too game-breaking. I know a lot of people are gonna say, oh, it just helps the noobs. Who cares? Skill-based matchmaking exists anyway, so you aren't gonna be playing noobs. And the beauty of this is they can always release more specialists with new abilities, which will always help the game feeling fresh. Look, there's only so much you can do to innovate Call of Duty multiplayer. They've tried pretty much everything, and they can't make everyone happy. But they need to start doing more so the games don't feel so stale and dead after the honeymoon phase. This is where I'm curious. What do you guys think Call of Duty should do to innovate multiplayer? Let's hear it down in the comments. Call of Duty Zombies has lost its identity in recent titles. Cold War leaned arcade, Modern Warfare Zombies felt like DMZ with Undead, and Black Ops 6 just feels like Warzone with a zombies storyline. We need to bring back the surreal, layered storytelling and complex maps of the Black Ops 1 to 3 era. I'm not even saying we need to bring back the OG crew. That storyline is finished. Did it end the way we wanted? Not really, but it was a conclusion nonetheless. Zombies needs to be separated from Warzone. This whole Warzone element is just dumb and makes zombies feel clunky and less compelling. Zombies needs to be weird, mysterious, and narratively rich again. Zombies shouldn't feel like just another mode. It should feel like another universe. And the early games did this so well. I haven't really played that much Warzone over the years compared to other people, but Warzone is bloated, stagnant, and full of cheaters. Nothing about it screams fun to me. Updates often break the game, which, this is Call of Duty, that's no surprise, and player retention is slipping. They had a great product with Warzone 1 in Modern Warfare 2019, and they haven't been able to replicate that, and I don't think they ever will. Warzone needs to be its own thing. It's time. Build a truly next-gen Warzone 2.0 from scratch. Fresh map design, physics, and movement systems, and make it its own game with its own launcher and nothing to do with the current annual Call of Duty release. The first step to this is ditching COD HQ. What a horrible product COD HQ is. The good news here, Call of Duty just announced that Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 are now officially downloadable as separate games from COD HQ. That means the dismantlement is already happening, which is great news for fans because I don't think anyone likes that shit anyway. I don't have any of the other games installed because they're massive files. If Warzone can become its own entity under the Call of Duty brand, fantastic. It needs to be separate at this point to be successful because it's too bloated, and they have to reset everything every year, which just doesn't work. Or They could simply retire it gracefully in favor of smaller, focused multiplayer experiences. But I don't see that happening. Warzone was revolutionary, now it's just routine. Call of Duty doesn't know what they are anymore. This is especially true in the modern era. Modern Warfare 2019, although I don't think it's a great Call of Duty gameplay-wise, it felt real and grounded, which is what I think they need to go back to. At its core, Call of Duty is a military arcade first-person shooter. It used to be predictable in a good way. We knew what we were getting. Grounded military campaigns, tight multiplayer, and a zombies mode with incredible storytelling thrown in. Now, we're all over the place. Jetpacks and wall running, hero shooter elements, wacky-ass bundles, Warzone, and open-world campaigns. Remember the days when multiplayer was the main event? Now it's just a side dish. Warzone dominates everything, and Classic 6v6 feels like an afterthought. Add in skill-based matchmaking and heavy monetization, and you've got a formula that's grinding down both casual and competitive players. COD multiplayer used to be so simple. Now it's sweaty, overcomplicated, and constantly overshadowed. And yeah, we've gotta talk about the store. What used to be gritty military realism is now Snoop Dogg with a laser gun fighting King Kong in a lobby that costs $200 in cosmetics. It's hard to take the boots on the ground tone seriously when the game looks more like Fortnite. We need to go back to Call of Duty's roots. A grounded, gritty, military experience with cinematic character-driven campaigns and addictive fast-paced multiplayer with creative side modes like zombies or extinction. The campaigns don't stray too far in the wrong direction, and I find them mostly enjoyable due to the gritty realism. Zombies should feel otherworldly, not an extension of Warzone. Zombies should be a playground for all things wacky, Easter eggs, insane lore, and crazy scenery. A perfect contrast to campaign and what used to be multiplayer. And that leads us into what multiplayer needs to be. We need to get rid of the insane operators, outrageous weapon blueprints, and cel-shaded everything. This isn't Fortnite. Call of Duty is a military arcade shooter. It thrives with unbeatable gunplay, fun-to-use kill streaks, iconic maps, and simple progression systems like Prestige. We need to go back to roots and be consistent with the identity. Militaristic tones grounded in realism, tense, focused campaigns with emotional weight, multiplayer that prioritizes map knowledge and skill. This is what Call of Duty was born out of, and it's what we need to go back to. Call of Duty doesn't need to reinvent the wheel, but it does need to remember why we fell in love with it in the first place. Risky stories, tight gameplay, memorable characters, and modes that felt like entire worlds. Not cash grabs. If Activision can slow down, listen to its community, and actually evolve, not just repackage, we could be looking at a true Call of Duty renaissance. But what do you think? Can Call of Duty bounce back? Or are its glory days behind us? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let me know what you would change, and if you enjoyed the breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and if you want access to additional perks, join the channel. I'll see you in the next video. We'll chat then.